welcome from my little study space here in Vienna. My name is Luise, I'm a literature student and writer, and as you may or may not be able to hear, I'm a little bit sick. I am yet again on the home stretch of finishing an essay, and it's the last essay for this semester. Yeah, I'm ready for a break, and I'm ready to just relax and have a little bit of a summer holiday feeling, even though it's September now. But outside the weather is like summer, like it's really hot. I'm not a fan. I'm ready for autumn. Yeah, so I still have a little bit of energy and a little bit of motivation to get this done. Do I have a strategy? No. I used to write chronologically, but at the moment I just write down whatever comes to mind, and when I feel like a chapter comes easily, I just start with it and work my way through it, and when I feel like, oh, I don't really know how to get on with it, I save it for later. And honestly, if I never really finish it, and if the rest of the essay is good enough, I'll just hand it in, because I'm tired. No, usually my essays are quite alright. I shouldn't worry, and I always have to remind myself I'm capable of doing this. I will be able to finish it. It's gonna be alright. It's a historical essay, so a lot of research, which is a little bit difficult sometimes, but yeah, it's gonna be alright. Winding back to early September, let me show you how I tried to make this whole essay writing experience as nice as possible. Hello! I'm currently taking a walk through my aunt and uncle's garden to take my head off because I'm in the middle of writing my essay. And yeah, it is such a beautiful place, and it's called Burgenland. It's a part of Austria that I'm actually not very familiar with. It's very different to what I know and where I grew up, because it's very flat, and they have this beautiful huge garden with apple trees and plum trees and all that stuff. And yeah, I mentioned that I have a very intense time at the moment writing my essay, and it doesn't really feel like holidays at the moment, so it's really difficult to calm down. And also in Vienna it is so hot, and now I had some days off, because now I always work on Monday and Friday, and I had some days off where I was able to come here, and in between writing my essay I'm taking little walks through the garden, and it is just absolutely beautiful. I'm so grateful that I can be here, and I'm sending you so much love from nature, and I hope you find time to go outside as well and, you know, be amongst trees. There are lots of little insects flying around. It is a little bit annoying, but it is beautiful, and even though it's very warm as well, it isn't that bad, because, you know, be outside in the garden is just a different feeling from sitting in a very hot apartment in Vienna. So anyways, I'm gonna go back and write on my essay and enjoy the time here. A week or so later, I was able to go home to my parents' place and just spend some cozy days there, mixed with a little bit of work. I'm currently reading Virginia Woolf's Mrs. Dalloway, and I usually always work in the mornings, but it was just so beautiful, so I went out with my mum to the farmer's market. We did some shopping, and it was all just very nice, and I felt like it's so important to also do those things in between, even though you have a very intense time. But I really tried to, you know, also have some fun and enjoy summer as good as possible in between work.
Hello, I am in the woods, just doing a little hike, and I can't say it's very quiet because you can still hear the street, so I have to hike a little bit higher and then you can't hear it anymore. But I'm very glad that I'm doing this. I was a little bit afraid it would be too hot, and it is quite hot, but still manageable. Yeah, so let's keep walking. When hiking in Austria, always bring a little Tüchi. It's just a little scarf. It often comes with Edelweiss on them. It's just something I always did also as a kid for sun protection or when it's cold.
So I've got 7 chapters. I am in the middle of the 7th, which is going to be the last one. And I didn't even mention what the topic is, or maybe I have at some other point, I don't remember, but I have mentioned it in some of my other videos, and I'm writing about German minorities from Eastern Europe who had to flee during and after Second World War. And they came to Germany and Austria.
The refugees weren't welcomed with open arms in Austria. I mean, post-war Austria was a complete wreck, so it was really difficult. And the plan was actually to transfer the German minorities to Germany, but that didn't work out as planned because there were thousands of refugees and it just didn't work. So people came to Austria. There was extreme hunger. There was no work. Everything was, destroyed. So for the people living in Austria, it was a challenge, but obviously also for the people who had to flee. A lot of the German minorities who stayed back in the Eastern European countries were facing extreme treatment by the Soviets. People were killed. Some were put into working camps. They were dispossessed. And the ones who were able to come to Austria, like my grandpa, for example, they stayed in barracks for, several years. And they did not get the Austrian citizenship for several years. It was really difficult to find a job, and they just lived in very harsh conditions. There was also the big question of who are we now that we had to flee, but we are kind of German minorities, so are we Austrian now? It is also interesting to see it from the Austrian perspective because a lot of people did sympathize with the German minorities because of the Austrian-Hungarian monarchy and because of the history. The best feeling after writing an essay and handing it in is to take out all the post-its from the books that I used. So good. So I handed it in. It was okay. I haven't gotten any feedback yet, but I'm just so happy that it's done. And yeah, now it's time to drink tea and relax.